It doesn't matter. But everywhere else that we look, what are you eating?
A cinnamon roll.
God, I wish I could have a cinnamon roll.
I
Kind of
would have
potential.
loved to see RG3 in today's NFL, man. He was the prototype. Really, when you look at it, dude was the prototype.
Yeah, they need some people that can compete against Patrick.
Uh, yeah. Okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like
Welcome back to the show. That's a mouse rat, and I'm Devin.
Mouse Rat, the best band ever. Only real ones know about Mouse Rat.
Okay, so here's where we're gonna get into the show. I have 5 news topics from the week. It's been pretty dead week because basketball is just going the draft. We aren't close enough to really know much. There's been some NFL free aid or some free no, not free agency, cap cutting because by the beginning of the year,
Yes, that is one thing
um,
we can talk about. Did you see the possible Jerry Judy trade coming
no,
out of the
it's
Broncos?
happening.
It's happening.
It's
You're
happening
not a
for a
fan
fifth
of
and a sixth.
You're not a fan of Jerry
I'm
Judy.
psyched. I'm
You like
psyched.
that?
I'm so happy. Like he's good, and I think he's going to be good in Cleveland. I just don't think he's good for us, and I don't think he really wants to be there. And I think that it's just good to just get him a fresh start. We get a fresh start. We get some picks out of it. Fine.
Is it for this year or
Yep, fifth and sixth for this year. And I mean, that's basically the equivalence of like a fourth, but you're getting a fifth and a sixth instead. You're getting 2 picks later instead of a fourth. So I'm fine with it. I'm really happy about that. We're 50 million under the cap, which is great. That means we've got a little bit of room to make some possible trades slash sign some low level
so
free
50
agents,
million under the cap with the 84 in dead space?
allegedly.
That's pretty damn good. Or is it just the owners of the Denver Broncos are just that damn rich?
Both.
Both.
I mean, we restructured Tim Patrick's uh
Is it
deal.
is it Sean Payton making these or is it like the office like doing all this work?
It's Sean Payton and John Payton, I think is his name. Sean Payton and
Sean and John?
I think it's John Payton. Yeah, the Paytons. Yeah, it's both of them making the moves. We're gonna trade Jerry Judy. We restructured Tim Patrick's contract. There's still more cuts possibly to come. So
Yeah.
there's a good chance that, we get well under the salary cap and make
What was
some
it?
young guy moves.
Was it corners or safeties? The amount of like
Oh,
Pro Bowl
we also let go of Justin Simmons,
just
which
yes.
which I was really torn up about. That
So it's
was
Justin Simmons. I know Justin Poirier, and then there's like a list of like really good safeties that are
yeah,
all been cut.
Buffalo like got rid of their entire defense. It felt like all
Really?
their like cornerback, their like defensive backs room is like they got rid of most of the people in that room.
Yeah, they need some people that can compete against Patrick.
But
But
so I mean, there's still a lot of
what if
the
they
hard
just
thing with
trade?
that.
What if Justin Simmons and Jordan Poyer just trade? They just trade spots.
No, they're aren't even. What do you mean? Oh, like we sign him?
Yeah, because it's like you just got rid of I'm pretty sure he made the Pro Bowl.
I don't know if he made the Pro Bowl, but he's a damn good corner or a safety. I don't know. I think it's still a little too early. The new year for the league new year is the 13th of this month.
Mhm.
So there's still a lot more cuts to come and guys that are gonna be essentially free agents going into this year that are gonna be looking for deals and
So
kind of cheap deals too. So um
Denver is in full rebuild.
kind of.
I
It
would say
looks like it.
they got rid of
But
their
at the same
quarter.
time, they're we have to win now. It's like a weird space where it's like we're in rebuild, but just for the next 2 years. Only
Really?
for the next 2 years.
Who do
Because
they have that
Sean
they're
Payton's got to
trying to?
win. He's got a 5-year contract.
Oh, he does. So
And
it's
so
just based around that.
so
Okay.
it's like a 5-year contract. I mean, and of course I'd assume he'd probably sign another one. 5 years is a pretty short stint somewhere, but still you're working against the clock here. And if you're going to draft a quarterback this year, yeah, you want to win now, but at the same like that's why Bo Nix makes the most sense for us because you are young and that guy's going to have is going to last the entirety of the time Sean Payton's there. He's going to be able to pick his guy. But at the same time, he's experienced enough with 60 NCAA starts to potentially compete in the next 2 years.
Isn't that a weird thing that like happens in the NFL? It's like if you don't have a quarterback or like a star wide receiver that you didn't get, you didn't pick as a head coach, like they don't like that. They want it to be the guys that they picked, or because
Unless
it
it's
kind of like
Patrick
tarnishes them.
Mahomes. Unless it's like Patrick Mahomes or Josh
Yeah.
Allen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like it's so weird that it's like it like tarnishes their success because
Yeah,
it's not their guy that they got.
but Russ was never like the Broncos guy. Aaron Rodgers was the Broncos guy, and then he went to and then he said, I'm going to stay a year and then go to the Jets." So it wasn't like Russell was the backup plan and the crap plan from George Payton's his name. He was the crap plan from George Payton, and I'm surprised that he didn't get his head lobbed off for that trade after we let him go, because that was a huge misstep. We lost a lot in that. So, first one here, this one was interesting. I saw this today. Would you have rather had RG3 never get hurt or Todd Gurley?
Me being a running back guy, it's fairly obvious Todd Gurley. But the thing is, as well, is that like I'm pretty sure Todd had a good 3-4 years. I'm not 100% sure, but it was just like the fall off from his
So
injury
hard. Yeah.
was so. It was probably the. I don't want to use the word worst. I'd rather say like it was the most intense fall off from
Yeah.
his ACL tear compared to other running backs who have come back, like Saquon Barkley, who I don't know if it
Didn't
was an
AP blow his ACL too?
yeah, there's been a lot of running backs that have blown their ACL and then come back and still competed, even at like the same level. But with Todd, it was really like he just was never the same after it. So for me, it's easy. I'm a running back. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to see a running
Bro,
back with that
I
kind of
would have
potential.
loved to see RG3 in today's NFL, man. He was the prototype. Really, when you look at it, dude was the prototype. And like if Michael Vick was the early stage, RG3 was the first like real prototype. I'm gonna like this could be something special. And it just sucks that we didn't get to see him. And especially in today's NFL with the rules, protecting the quarterback and how dynamic offenses are. Man, think about this. I was thinking about this. If I could place RG3 on any team right now, I feel like I hands down the Eagles, bro.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say the Broncos. I was like, here we go, back to the
No,
Broncos
no,
again.
bro. Hands down the Eagles, dude. That fit to me. RG3 in today's NFL, the Eagles would be so nasty with that O line, bro. They would have been like Jalen Hurts was good.
Is
RG3 would have
good.
been
Is
is
good.
good. Is good. RG3 would have been insane in that offense.
I think you probably win this because I don't remember much of RG3's career as much as I do Todd Gurley. So that kind of
Yeah.
makes hit that point even better, is that I don't remember much of him.
It was such a fast fall off for him, and it was tragic. I just thought that was interesting. I feel like that's a good question.
Are
So,
there any others? Any others that you can
I
think
mean,
of?
the original question that I saw was RG3 versus D Rose, and I didn't know how much of
Oh,
you're not a
switching
basketball guy.
sports.
Yeah, you're not a
Oh no,
basketball guy.
but I know about Derrick Rose.
Yeah, but still,
You
like
know,
that is even better, I think, is the RG3 versus D Rose conversation. Cause man, that's
I
tough. That's super tough. I'm a basketball guy. I
for
would
me
have
it,
really liked to see D
for me it's D
Rose.
Rose. Yeah, for me it's D Rose. I wanted to see D Rose reach his full potential, especially with that one game where he dropped, I think it was like 40 on the Timberwolves, and it was just like you
Oh,
got this
50? Yeah.
50, yeah, and you
Yeah.
got to see just like a flash of him, of like
Yeah.
what he was, and then like
Man.
yeah, that one is incredibly tough because he was like it was different with RG3 because it was like this guy's gonna be great. It was like we're with D Rose, it was like we're watching greatness happen
Yeah.
and unfold right now, and then
Yeah. And then just
yeah,
like demolished. Yeah, that's really tough. I RG3 versus D Rose, that's so tough. I would love to know. So to everyone out there, if you could turn injuries off in the real world, would you see Derrick Rose's career play out? or RG3's career
or
play?
anybody that you can think of within the past like 20 years.
Drop it in the comments. Okay, this next point comes from Emmanuel Acho, I think is how you say his name. It's on he was on Speak Up. I think it's a segment on ESPN. He made a really good point. It's about the Cowboys. And it's the best comparison I've like ever heard for the Cowboys. And it's that essentially the Cowboys staff today, like the Cowboys are, I should say Jerry Jeudy is the rich dad that has to
Jerry
raise
Jones.
rich kids. Yeah, Jerry Jones is the rich dad that has to raise rich kids when he got it out the mud.
Jerry
Because
Jones got it out the mud.
no, but like the old Cowboys, the 90s Cowboys are the ones who got it out the mud. They were dogs. Now the Cowboys have all this prestige and they're America's team and they're soft. And so it's like the rich dad having to teach his kids who got it out the mud and is like wealthy, teaching his kids that are wealthy how to like grind.
I think it's Jerry Jones's fault though. No.
Yeah, I just
That-
made the comparison of like, because he's been there the whole time. He
yeah,
saw it
but
through thick and thin.
have you heard of what Dalton Schultz said
That's
about
what this was
yeah,
about.
but the
This was
Cowboys
about.
facility?
It's like a
Yeah,
zoo.
so that's why I feel like it's Jerry Jones's fault. He made it
Yeah.
into this rich kid, like where you're like a celebrity, or like you're like being watched. Like people can walk in and watch you work out in one-way windows. Like I feel like it's more like an amusement park. Like it's Jerry's World, right? They call the stadium Jerry's World. Like it's an amusement park meant
Yeah.
for entertainment all the time.
But I just thought it was a really great point, and I thought it was like it was just very well said that that is a great
Yeah,
comparison.
it does make a lot of sense, especially in those like hard fought games when you see the Cowboys fall and fall and fall and fall,
Yeah.
especially in the playoffs. It makes a lot of sense that they're not. Yeah, they're like the rich kids. Like they have, like I've said it before, they have like if you play for the Cowboys, you have it easy compared to basically every other team. Like you have the best training facility, practice facility. I mean, it's basically like it's the Hollywood version of the NFL. It's being in Jerry's World.
100%. All right, next topic. We're moving over to Olympic basketball. The starting 5 and 6 man for the USA Olympic basketball team for 2024 Paris Olympics has been released. And the rest of the world is free to just pack it up and go home. This is your starting 5. Point guard, Steph Curry. Shooting guard. Yes, I said shooting guard. Jason Tatum. Small forward, LeBron James. Power forward, Kevin Durant. Center, Joel Embiid. The 6th man, Drew Holiday. Now, I would love to see. I feel bad for the man in Jamaica that is 6'4" and is going to have to go out there and deal with 6'11" Jason Tatum just demolishing him, acting like that man has a family at home. Jason, leave him alone. All right. That's going to be absolutely ridiculous. That if they lose a game, it's going to be an embarrassment and a disappointment to the USA.
Where's Giannis?
He's Greek.
So he's playing for Greece.
Yeah. Doesn't
Why?
matter. What do you mean?
Why?
What do you
Why
mean?
isn't he playing for the U.S.? He lives in
Because
the
he's
U.S.
Greek.
Yeah,
He's
but he
Greek.
lives in the U.S.
He was
right?
born Greek. You have to be
Citizen.
you have to be a citizen of that country.
He's not a citizen of the
Or
U.S.
not, no, sorry, not citizen. You have to have like blood ties or something to the country.
Blood ties.
Yeah, that's why Jordan
No,
Clarkson,
I'm
he's
just
the
laughing
third
because it just sounds like a mafia term. You gotta have blood ties.
because like Jordan Clarkson is, I think he's like a third Filipino and like the rest black, but he plays for the Philippines. Like he's American and Filipino, but he plays for the Philippines.
What was it? It's like Usain Bolt like lives and trains in America, but then he ran for Jamaica, right? It was something like that. There was a bunch of people that like live and train in the US for 4 years, and then they go and they go and compete for different countries. I I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I don't want to take away from your point. Yeah, that's going to be a
Either it
crazy
doesn't
lineup.
matter whether Giannis is there, like in Greece or on the like that lineup is is gonna be nuts.
Who would you switch out?
LeBron said enough. We're not
We're not
this has
taking
been
it.
this has been way too close. The Olympics has been way too close for too many cycles. We're gonna run this. Okay.
Yeah,
If
he
I
wants to
had
get back to his prime days when it was like Kobe and
dude,
him and everyone just destroying everyone.
oh
Is there any player that could possibly
mm.
make the team better being a starter?
The sixth man. I mean, Drew Holiday's he's clamps. If I had to pick somebody to switch out with for maybe the sixth man instead of Drew
Or
Holiday,
just anyone. I mean, we still
I know, but
have
I really like that
Kawhi.
lineup. I would say probably Kawhi or Paul George for the sixth man. Probably Kawhi because he
Kawhi.
can clamp up, but then he's also just a bucket when he wants to be. So
What about
I
Devin Booker? No? No Devin Booker?
no, I mean he's good. He's really good, and he's been a good Olympic player. But when we're talking about like within this team, that's just size and length. Pause. That's that's that we're going off of here. That's just clamps, shooting, athleticism, up and down. Booker can be that, but I'd rather have Kawhi there to just be super interchangeable all the way around.
So I
Because I
do have
mean, everyone but Curry here is legitimately 6'10" or taller.
yeah.
Everyone on this team, except for Curry, and like if we're taking Kawhi and dropping him on there, he's 6'8", but still, like we're talking 6'8" and above. Everyone on the team.
Yeah.
Not to
Uh,
mention the giant that's in the middle, the 7'3", 300-pound monster in Joel Embiid.
who was possibly going to be the MVP before he got hurt.
And there was a big kind of controversy earlier, like in the calendar year, about what team Joel Embiid was going to play for in the Olympics because he said he wanted to play, but he could play for a couple different teams. So, but he ended up playing for the U.S.
So they get to decide.
The players,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because, yeah, Joel's not from America, but he
no,
decided to play for America.
he's partially like he has family ties to America. I think he's like half or something.
Half. Okay, so
And
your
so,
family has to live in the country. I have a dumb question.
okay,
You'll probably know it. I don't know it. Luca and then who's the other guy? I don't want to describe him because it'll be mean.
Jokic,
Yes. Are they on the same Olympic basketball team or are they different?
no, Jokic is in. Jokic is Serbia and Luka is Croatia, I think.
I guess, yeah, I guess it's every country. Every country has a basketball team.
Yeah.
Is there any team you can think of? I know back in the day, like Spain was the only team that could compete with the U.S. Is there
Argentina was really good back in the day.
any team that's going to compete with these guys?
Germany.
Are there any NBA players from Germany, or
Um,
they just play good ball?
they're just the thing about the Olympics, it's a much more college atmosphere because these guys have been playing together on the national team since they were like 16.
Mm-hmm.
Because in every other country, you don't play for your school, you play for your city. And then you go from for your town to your city, and then your city to the national team in U19, and then you compete against the world, and then you go up to the U21 and you compete against the world, and then you go up to the seniors and you compete with the world. So in every other country, it's different. They don't play with like their college, their high school, then their college, and then like
NBA.
there's pro leagues
Yeah.
overseas, but most of pro basketball, air quotes, is is countries teams playing other
Mm-hmm.
countries in most of the world. So a lot of these guys have just been like, it's the team aspect. Like I'm sure you didn't watch basketball, but I'm sure you've heard of like the 2014 Spurs. Like they were just
Yeah.
like the team chemistry. It's that. So individually, none of them are like crazy on a lot of these teams, but together they're really great. And you also see like you also get, and watching the Olympics, a lot of these guys that are in the NBA that are role players in the NBA, they're like 3-and-D guys, or they're
Mm-hmm.
just rebounders or whatever. When they get to their national team, you're like, we never saw this before because on their national team, they're the best player. In the
Yeah.
NBA, they're a role player. So they show out when they play for their national team. The biggest one was like France. Evan Fournier was like, everyone was like, what the hell? Another one on my Utah Jazz was Lowry Markkinen. He plays for Finland. He went berserk and went like showed out. And then he showed out in the NBA now as like the number one option on the Jazz. But up until this point, before he like showed out 2 years ago for Finland, no one, like, he was just a guy.
He
So
was just a dude.
he was just a guy on a roster. So I
Does
mean,
Scotland have a basketball team?
Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah,
That
I don't think Scotland does. I think it's just Ireland.
just Ireland.
Yeah.
Who is
So I
it?
mean, there's like France has been competitive, Spain is competitive, Germany's competitive. Um, who did we have trouble with last year? I want to say it was Spain that we had issues with last year, or
New
France.
Zealand.
No.
All time. Who are you switching out of this? Out of the top 6 all time, who are you switching out? My go-to would
Oh,
switch
are we
Joel.
excluding Jordan?
No, we can throw Jordan in there.
Okay.
Yeah, my go-to, Joel's out, Shaq's in.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's the only one I can really come up. That's
I
like a
would
lock.
say, I would say I would want Kobe on this team for sure. If I could move LeBron to the point, Jason Tatum to the 3, and put Kobe at 2,
Mhm.
my goodness. LeBron, Kobe, Jason Tatum, KD, Joel Embiid, and then instead of Drew Holiday, Kawhi.
That would be insane.
That would be nuts if that team could be here, or even instead of Kawhi, just put Curry as a 6 man, which we saw at one point. We did see it, but we didn't see it with Joel.
Mhm.
Kobe, of course, MJ's up there, but that's kind of a gimme. Shaq's a really good pick.
Yeah. That's the only one that's like, oh yeah, that's a lock. Put him in center.
D Wade was always like a really great um, glue guy in the Olympics. The other one, and you're gonna laugh, but it's true. Like, arguably the best USA like basketball.
Iguodala.
No, Carmelo. He was like Mr.
Carmelo.
USA basketball for the longest time. He played in the Olympics forever, and he was always a bucket. I don't think I put him on this team. He's a little slow, doesn't have the defense, but Carmelo was like Mr. USA basketball for a while.
I wouldn't laugh at that because I'm a huge Melo fan. Carmelo Anthony, not the other
Yeah.
Melo. And their team. We should
Yeah.
do a segment on their team and how it's a bunch of children playing in the NBA with
Parental guidance.
no parental guidance and no drive to win at all.
No.
Like they have no drive to like make the playoffs or be competitive. They're just so happy with being in the NBA, goofing around, playing basketball, and making money. We should do a little segment on there later on.
Bro. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
We talked about this a little bit off camera. I had
Did you see the video I sent you of Mike Tyson absolutely obliterating?
keep going.
Just did you see the video I sent you of him, the one of him like
I
with
didn't.
his Johnson flopping around?
No, I did not see that.
Bro, you were talking about he's walking around with a cane. Bro, it's an act.
It's an act.
It's
The
an
camera's
act.
an act.
It's an act. That man is still a psycho, bloodthirsty killer.
Well, this isn't a professional fight. It's a exhibition. So he can take performance enhancing drugs, I'm pretty sure, or he can take certain things to help with his back or help with his age. Um I don't know how to feel about it though. I don't know the drive from Mike Tyson. Obviously, you know the drive from Jake Paul. Jake Paul wants to be respected in the boxing world, but it's weird. It's like he reverted to his old way of marketing to where before it was like, okay, he's a YouTuber who's like gonna box like a pro athlete. Obviously, the YouTuber is gonna get knocked out, and then he's kind of doing the same thing here. Like he's Jake Paul. He wants to be looked at kind of like a YouTuber going up against like the one of the greats. But the problem
But now
is
he's like
that
a boxer.
yeah, but the problem is here is that he changed the way that he was marketing all of his matches because then it was I'm going to prove that I could be a pro boxer. So then he started fighting like actual people who were quote unquote pros, not big pros, but just like they were a professional boxer. And then now he's going back to sort of the gimmicky fights. The problem is that everyone has seen through this marketing tactic with Anderson Silva and Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley. They saw through it when he beat them. It's like, well, these guys are out of their prime. They're not who they used to be. And it's the same thing with Mike. Like, as much as he looks like a killer, he's still like I want to say he's 60 plus. He's an old man. I don't know. Like, it's definitely interesting because you want to see, can Mike Tyson do it? But
57.
57, yeah. So he's fighting a 57-year-old man who definitely is not like he fought. Who did he fight? Junior Roman
Dude,
Summers.
Tyson Fury's 35. That man looks like he's 70.
Yeah, yeah. But back to my point, I don't know how to feel about it. I
A
don't.
30-year age gap. Jake Paul is 27.
Yeah, I don't understand Mike Tyson's drive unless it's money. I assume that he was well off, but it's obviously looking like that might not be the case. That's why he's taking the fight. Huge pay-per-view, or at least that's what he's promised. I don't know. I don't want to see it. I feel like that's the last thing I want to see. Like Jake Paul comes off of a loss, like he lost to a pro fighter, and then he goes back to sort of like his gimmicky fights. I don't really know what to say. What do you think about it? Like I don't like it. I don't want to see it.
Bing, bang, boom. There's going to be 3 hits in this fight. Jake lightly touching Tyson's shoulder, Tyson touching Jake's chin, and Jake on the ground.
You truly believe that?
No.
Because
I don't know.
I'm gonna say
I think
like,
it's gonna be. I
bro,
think it's gonna be just like a super like soft fight. I guess is the word. Like it's not gonna be they're both gonna be pulling punches. I would be hard pressed to believe that Mike Tyson is actually gonna or Jake's actually gonna be throwing punches at a 60-year-old man. Like no way, no
yeah.
way. It's gonna be like 60% at best.
I don't see how this is a win for Jake because if he
Yeah,
knocks him out, he literally knocked out somebody who's
geriatric.
no, he's considered elderly.
Yeah,
He literally
literally.
knocks out a guy who's considered to be an elder. And if he loses, then that looks terrible for him. The
Oh
only
yeah.
way that it could possibly be a win for Jake is if it is like, it's kind of like the Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva, where it was kind of just like like obviously that was a real fight. I'm not saying it wasn't a real fight, but the fight was like they were throwing wild kicks, they were doing crazy like dodges, kind of like taunting at each other, kind of like showing their skills. Unless it's something like a playful bout between Mike Tyson and Jake, I don't see how Jake comes out like a winner. I know a lot of people are gonna pay for it because they want to see like the old heads are gonna pay to watch to see be like Mike Tyson's gonna knock him out, and then like all these kids are gonna pay because it's like, yeah, Jake Paul's the greatest.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. I don't understand it from both sides. Besides Jake, the only thing I can think of is Jake wants to be recognized as a great boxer, but this is not the fight to get recognized as a great boxer. So I'm struggling to figure out the motive from both of them, unless it's just money, just dough, just getting
Money
cash,
makes
just a
the
little,
world go around, baby.
yeah, just a cash grab.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about it.
Alert, Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera have entered the octagon.
Oof. All right, quick predictions. Who do you? This is literally he just said it right before the fight happens. Who do you
Sugar
think? Do you
Sean,
know
baby.
much?
Sugar
Sugar
Sean.
Sean. That's
Sugar
because you don't
Sean.
know who Cheeto Vera is.
No, but I don't care. I want
So
sugar.
so Cheeto Vera actually beat Sean early on. Like I think it was Sean's 10th fight in the
So it's
UFC.
a rematch.
It is a rematch. But the
Mm,
thing is
obviously Sean is a belt holder now.
yes, he is a champ. It was the time where Cheeto defeated Sean. It was not a dominant win because he kicked him in the foot, and then it like struck a nerve, and then Sean couldn't walk on his foot for probably like, I want to say 3 minutes of him stumbling around in the cage before Cheeto finished him. So it was basically like a 50-50. Like if Sean was healthy, we don't know. That's the reason why everybody's not saying that like, oh, Cheeto's going to smoke him, right? Is because in the first fight, it was basically like a freak accident. A lot of people say like, no, Cheeto like destroyed him, but they're not saying that now. They're saying like they're actually taking it seriously because that first fight basically doesn't matter. I followed Sean from Contender Series up. So from that, I really like Sean. I also really like Cheeto. I think Sean is just too dynamic for the way that they're going to try and fight. Cheeto's a very slow guy when he tries to fight. Like he starts slow, and then the pace for him is slow. He's all about like his tempo, right? And what Sean's really great at is exploding with huge kicks and huge punches. He has a ton of knockouts. So I think unless Cheeto takes him to the ground or it goes on the ground and he submits him, I'm taking Sean. I think he's just like standing. He's too dynamic for Cheeto. I know Cheeto's great. Cheeto is great with his knees, elbows, and keeping space and not letting people set the tempo for him. That's what he's truly great at. But I mean, Sean's also taller than everyone, and Sean also has a way
For real.
longer reach than everyone. So
For real.
standing, just based off of that standing, Sean's going to get it. But we will see within live on the podcast. We will see if I'm right or not.
Yeah. All right, our last one here, point number 5 from the week. This comes from Colin Cowherd. I watched this today. This is not necessarily who he thinks is going to be drafted in which place, but simply what quarterbacks fit in each situation, which fit is the best, okay? And obviously, we're excluding Caleb. Everyone knows he's going to go number 1. So this is kind of the next 5 guys, and what situation feels and fits best for them. Okay. The first one, I'm just going to run through these and then we'll go through and talk about each. Okay. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels. The Giants, Drake May. The Vikings, JJ McCarthy. The Broncos, Bo Nix. And the Seattle Seahawks, Michael Penix. Those are where Colin Cowherd feels each of those quarterbacks fits the best.
I don't like
Where
the
do you
top
want,
two.
where do you want to start?
Jaden Daniels. Don't like it.
Jaden Daniels. What with the Commanders? Why?
They have to switch up their playbook now because they have a running quarterback, or no?
No. So the reason why this Colin feels like this is a good fit, and this has kind of been a point in the Twitterverse kind of NFL, is Cliff Kingsbury has had this kind of quarterback, but now he has a taller version. He had Kyler, and I can't remember who the other quarterback he had was, but essentially he's had this kind of quarterback, and they're going to have a new OC. They have he's new to the Commanders anyways. So he's bringing in his playbook, and it's built for this kind of quarterback. And there's an argument to say that maybe Jaden Daniels isn't the second best quarterback in the draft, but he's the best fit for us. And for Cliff Kingsbury, he knows how to utilize him correctly and to the maximum ability.
But they still do have change, I guess, because they have a new head coach. They're changing the playbook anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I would say old Commanders, no. The new Commanders, yes. I want to talk about, what was it? Flipping.
Drake May to the Giants.
Yeah.
I love that.
Daniel Jones.
Yes, but here's the thing. He's got like one more guaranteed year on his deal. So why not? Because everyone's saying Drake May is at least a 1-year project. He needs at least 1 year sitting.
Daniel looked great before he got hurt. Well, I guess he had one game where he looked great, but I mean, he shows promise.
But that's the thing, though, is he had 6 years before he signed this deal to show promise. And last year was the first year. Granted, it was his first year with Dayball, but still, it's kind of a little late at this point. And so you've got 1 year left on the Daniel Jones deal in actuality. So why not draft Drake May? Brian Dayball is clearly the quarterback whisperer. He got Josh Allen to the point of star stardom that he's at. He took Daniel Jones last year and turned him into an actually good quarterback in which they made the playoffs. This year was a mess. He tore his ACL, yada yada. But why not?
Yeah, so I feel like there's so many more problems than your quarterback.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that's why you give him a year to sit and you grab him early, you give him a year to sit, you work with Daniel Jones for this year, and then you
But
draft young
there
guys and
could
you
be a
let him
guy
work all the
there.
kinks out.
I mean, you said it yourself. The wide receiver depth in this draft is so deep. Pause.
Right.
But
That's why you can
why
get him
wouldn't
at
you try and get a wide receiver, or why wouldn't you try and
because you can
strengthen
get him in
up
the
your
second
line?
round. Because you can get him in the second round and you can get, and the O line class is deep too. So that's why it's like, why not take the quarterback in the first, get a receiver, get one of these showtime receivers in the second round, and then get
All right. Here's the thing.
and then get an O
There's
lineman in the third.
always like, oh, the next great QB. Next year we're going to be talking about three other guys who are going to be starters, right? So there's always going to be quarterbacks.
Yeah,
There's never been a draft where there has not been quarterbacks, or at least there hasn't been a draft where people are saying no quarterbacks are good in this draft, right? There's never been a draft like that. They've always hyped up all these quarterbacks. So there's no reason when you have Daniel Jones for a year to take Drake May when you can just play out the year, get some guys to strengthen up all your actual problems that you have on the Giants football field. You have real problems there.
but who are you going to get at 6? They're in no man's land because they're not low enough to where it makes sense to just bail and get one of those. Like,
There's always an old lineman who goes first round.
I know there's going to be multiple linemen that are going to go first round in this draft, but like,
Strengthen up your line.
but why at 6 when you can get a comparable guy in the second round?
They're
Why not
all
take the swing at a quarterback at 6?
they're all comparable. Next year we're going to be talking about all these comparable QBs. Every QB every year is comparable.
I don't know. I think Drake May's different here. I don't think anyone in next year's draft is on the level of even the top 3 guys in this draft.
I
Um,
mean, just wait till next year. Next year, they're all going to be saying that these guys
yeah,
are ready starters.
but like I don't think that in what I've in the film I've watched and hearing opinions and watching kind of back some games this week of some of these guys, I see the flashes of what Drake May is, and I see the flashes um of a great arm and a guy that is a little bit wily, which is why he's a 1-year project. But I don't know. I see to me, it's like, why not? Um, I like the fit. The other thing too here is like the Eli Manning archetype is Drake May.
Yeah, they
And
don't
so there's
have the coaches or the team that Eli Manning was on.
Dayball is definitely that kind of coach, I think.
He had
Um,
Josh Allen. What about Josh Allen is similar to Eli Manning?
no, I'm talking about Eli Manning, the Eli Manning archetype in New York. Like,
Yeah, so it's the city, right? Eli Manning was in New York. Let's get a guy who's like Eli Manning
yeah,
in
but
New
there's
York, but they're
but there's
different. They've progressed past that.
yeah, well, but yes and no, but like the same thing is like you look at Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers, he's just black Aaron Rodgers, bro. Like
Yeah,
his
but
throwing motion, everything.
the Packers have not progressed past Aaron Rodgers. They have a very clear
The
system of
Giants
how they
haven't gone
deal.
anywhere. They've regressed. If anything, they've regressed.
Yes, but they've switched it up. They have different coaches. They have different schemes. They used to have Saquon. We don't know if he's going to return. They're so much different than the Packers.
I
The
don't get why you
Packers,
wouldn't want him there. I think that's a great fit, especially with the kind of issues that the issues that you see with Drake May of like he needs a year and he needs to be coached out of his weird like mistakes that he makes and not being able to see the pocket, throwing the ball randomly. Those are all day ball fixes.
I just think that there's more prominent issues that need fixing that they
I don't
could.
disagree with you, but we're talking about the NFL here. You take your swing at the quarterback if he's in front of you at 6.
I don't think so. Lamar got took 32nd overall.
I know, but there's not like
I feel like this is just draft rot. That's what I feel like it is.
no.
Is it's like this is the draft. These are the guys. And then now we're going to talk about them for a year. And then now, because we've been talking about them for a year, they're the best. I feel like there are so many.
Yeah, he's better than Daniel Jones.
They can wait, though. That's the thing, is that they have more pressing issues to get to, and they can wait for another quarterback.
But it's the NFL. Even if you're bad,
Unless
you're
they
trying to
think
win.
Drake May is their next starter for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
I do not think they take
They
him.
think he's a franchise quarterback. Not all drafts are built the same.
I mean, I feel like it's better for them to get a really good wide receiver this draft than a really good quarterback, because I feel like there's more really good quarterbacks that are coming year by year.
I don't think so. I think next year's draft, you're going to have to wait. And that's the thing, is like, you don't know how long you're going to have to wait if you pass on this guy. And then what? You have to live with the fact that
I
you
just
didn't
want to
take Drake May at 6. If, let's say, he goes berserk somewhere else, he becomes a franchise guy. You have to live with the fact. I have to live with the fact as a
let's say he
Broncos fan.
doesn't.
I have to live with the fact as a Broncos fan that we passed on Josh Allen because we thought his hands were too small. Okay.
Yeah.
Take the freaking quarterback. JJ McCarthy to the Vikings. I think that makes a ton of sense. Even if you don't get Kirk back this year, I think it makes a ton of sense there. You get to
Yeah, I like
you
it.
get to reset at the quarterback position, and that way you can pay Justin Jefferson. And apparently he's an amazing processor and he's got a good arm, so he can grow into that. And you've got an offensive coach there. It makes sense.
I
Bo
definitely
Nix to the
don't hate it.
Broncos. Bo Nix to
That's
the
what you
Broncos.
want.
That's what I want. And I talked about it in the open. It makes a ton of sense in terms of going young, but going young so you have a guy that can last the entirety of the time that Sean Payton is there, but at the same time, a guy who's well-seasoned, ready-made pro, 60 college starts. You can go win in 2 years when this cap hell is done. We're already 50 under this year. We eat the cap this year, eat the cap next year. Year 3, you've had 2 years of turmoil where Bo Nix has had to just make it work with what he's got. Now, year 3, you can go really spend, and then that's when you start making your push there.
Yeah, I think that's the best fit that I've heard.
Yeah, I really like it. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of smoke right now that it's JJ McCarthy. I really hope it's Bo Nix.
I think he put Michael Penix on the Seahawks because they're both in Washington. What pick is Seahawks?
Ooh, I think they're in the 20s. Let me look at the draft order.
That was the main thing, is I was like, I'm pretty sure the Seahawks are low in the draft. Like, I get it.
Yeah, but Penix is probably gonna. I think he's gonna be late first, early second.
I feel like there's a lot of teams ahead of him that might take a chance on him before he gets to the Seahawks.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. On to 16. Far
16?
off.
Who?
So
now read up from there.
So 16 above them is Colts. They've got a quarterback.
Yep.
Saints, they've got a quarterback. Raiders, they don't have a quarterback, but their rumors are they're going to trade up. So they're going to go get a guy. They might go get a guy early. And also, there's other connections with the Raiders that could happen here. Broncos, we're going to get a quarterback. Vikings, they're probably going to take a quarterback. Jets are going to go O-line.
Yeah, but those could be Michael Penix.
I don't think many teams have that high of a grade on him. And then 10 is Jets. They're going to go O-line. Bears are going to go weapon. Falcons are going to get Justin Fields, so that quarterback need is filled, so they're probably going to take a receiver.
We
Titans
keep
are going
thinking that,
O-line.
but no, just keep going. My point's stupid.
Titans are going to go O-line. Giants are probably going to go quarterback. You don't think they will. Chargers are probably going to go O-line here at 5. Cardinals are going to go receiver. Patriots might go receiver.
No QB
Commanders
for Patriots?
That's the team that the Raiders are connected to in terms of, like, if Jaden Daniels doesn't go to the Commanders and he falls at like past 3, there's rumors that the Raiders might go up and give New England everything they want to get 3, and then the Raiders pick Jaden Daniels, and then Pats fall back, but they get a king's ransom and they can go rebuild the team, which that's more of a see, my other thing with the
if
Giants
Pats fall back, I feel like they might take Michael Penix. If they swap places.
I don't think they're going to take a quarterback this year at all. I think they're going to stick with Mac Jones for a year. If they don't take a quarterback at 3, then they're going to stick with Mac Jones for a year and just
I mean,
reset for
Bill
next year.
couldn't. I mean, it's just tough when you have Bill as your head coach and Bill couldn't make you work. That's the thing. Is that
No,
like,
but that's the thing is they're not trying to make him work long term. He's just going to be a stopgap for another year. They're just going to
yeah,
reset and go get a guy next year. And that's a Patriots move. That's an organizational move. The Giants are like they're liable to do anything. I like the fits. I like all of the fits. I think all of them make a ton of sense. Seattle, Penix, that one is just like guy doesn't have to move. His OC's already there. It just
yeah,
makes that one makes a ton of
it
sense.
does make a lot of sense, but I mean, there are certain teams that might want a quarterback, so I can see.
I just don't think that a lot of teams, I think a lot of teams are in the same boat I am where it's like Penix is kind of fool's gold, but for the
Why?
Seahawks,
Why is he fool's
because
gold? I
because
mean, we're talking about JJ McCarthy being he's a great
I
processor
don't
with a great arm.
I'm not high on JJ McCarthy. I don't think JJ McCarthy is that guy. I think Michael Penix is fool's gold because he's going to get into the NFL and get ragdolled.
Why?
I don't think his
Okay,
body can
no.
withstand NFL.
Why? Please tell me why.
Because
Does
he
he
was
weigh
injured.
135 pounds?
No, because he had tons of injuries in college, and even in the national championship game, he went into the tent. And granted, he got out there and played, for the last drive, but like, dude is not built to withstand an NFL season.
Everywhere we go in football, being a winner is so important. If you play for a losing
But he's
team, it's
not.
so hard for you to flip and make it if you're in high school, you play for a losing team. It's so hard for you to get onto a good college team because you are a loser. You have a losing mindset. You give up. And then we talk about Michael Penix, who took his team with all of these injuries. He took his team to the national championship.
He didn't
Right?
have injuries in Washington. He had injuries earlier in his career.
Okay, so yeah, so then for the last 4 years, he's been fine.
Not 4.
Well, however long he was in college. But like he's a guy, he's a winner. He took his team to the national championship. And then now we throw that out. Oh, it doesn't matter that he took his team to the highest level, right? God, I wish I could have a cinnamon roll. I wish I could eat a cinnamon roll. I'd balloon up to 300 pounds if I had one of those. All right, what are we getting into next?
All right, guys. We just went through my 5 news headlines from this week's week of sports.
Devin does the news.
Again, I'm Devin. That's a mouse rat. And this is Buffet Sports. If you want to see more of us, you can catch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at buffet.sports. We post every day, if not twice a day. We appreciate you guys subscribing, liking all the videos. That is another smaller mouse rat. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Ciao.
Mouse rat.